I thought we'd start with transfer situation. There's been a little bit of movement since last we talked, and I guess the first bit of transfer news was the two young lads going off to Ireland. It's clearly worked for Freddie, it's worked for Alicia and Sam and Sean, and you're hoping it will clearly progress their careers as well.
Yeah, I think it's a great move for them. I think it's the next stage in their progression. We think highly of them. This season they'll get limited minutes, if any minutes, if we were to bring them back with us. Obviously Ocean got in at Blackpool because we were so light, but in reality I think that's the next stage of their careers, ready to get them playing. And I think there's a lot of games in Ireland between now and the end of the season, so 20 odd games for them, so they can come back in the summer raring to go for next season.
Now, I appreciate the next programme to mention, you probably may not have even met, but Charlie Kendall announced today he's leaving the club. Just 3 appearances for Lincoln City, 4 loan spells away in non-league. You could understand why Lincoln fans might look at it and think it's a deal that hasn't worked out for either party.
Yeah, I think like always, any club tries to take young players on and try and progress them, and then some points, it becomes a bit of a challenge, and I think he needs to go and have a challenge somewhere else, and I think he needs to progress his career, and I do think it's a good thing for him as a young player. But yeah, like anything, not probably worked out in the way that both parties would have hoped for.
And in terms of other activity, we've still got a couple of weeks to go in the window. Are you hoping for stuff, expecting stuff?
Yeah, we're working hard. We're working really hard behind the scenes. It's obviously with Freddie and Joe, we did that really early, which was good, and then it's about making sure we do whatever we think we need, the right ones. I'm really keen on getting some experience in the building, but that's not easy. And then at the same point, getting some other talent in. But like other clubs, we're all fighting for the same ones in some ways. But yeah, we're definitely working hard behind the scenes with Jez and the recruitment team, and constantly having meetings about how we can improve the group. But I think it's really important to say, it's not someone we just want to bring numbers in for. As we start to get injuries back, we want to bring players in that we think will improve the squad. Not just add numbers.
Do you think it's more likely to be loans? I was talking to Liam Scully doing an interview with him, and he felt probably it would be leaning perhaps a bit more towards loans at the moment. Yeah,
I think that's the main important thing. Get loans that can improve the squad at the moment in time, and then build into the summer with more permanence. But I think you'll probably more like to see loans come into the building than permanence. But you never know, because also at this time in January, players, we don't know what's out there and whether they want permanence or loans. But it's one of those things. But I would definitely say we'll be leaning to more loans than permanence.
If somebody was looking at last Saturday's result, just at the fixture and looking at the dramatic goal, 98th minute, all of those sorts of things, but I think if you're involved with Lincoln City, like clearly you are and we are at Radio Lincolnshire, it felt potentially like a key 20 minutes for your group of players.
Yeah, I thought the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes, they were good. We pushed the game, as I said after the game, it felt like a front-footed period of the game. Even the second half we started better. I thought we were not up to the speed in the first half. I think everyone can agree that, but I think the second half they showed what they can do, and our challenge now is replicating that at Derby for 90 minutes and then replicating that for the remainder of the season. I think if we do that, we'll be in a good spot.
Yeah, that's exactly the point, isn't it? Look, those bits of the game, that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, sure, and I think we've seen bits of that. We saw bits of that at Cambridge, we saw bits of that last few minutes of Leyton Orient, we saw bits of that even at the start, 20 minutes against Northampton. We've seen bits of it, but we haven't seen it consistently over 90 minutes, and our challenge as a group is to consistently put that in, play with pace, play with front-footed in and out of possession, and I think the young lads will be raring to go and showing what we can do against Derby.
And Joe and Freddie, a young front two for you. We talked about it after the game, and it felt like, understandably, with them still being recently coming back to the club or new to the club, a work in progress to help the other players get the best out of them.
Yeah, it's a work in progress for them as individuals because it's a step up. It's a work in progress for them together as a pair, if they're going to play up there as a pair because they haven't played together before. And it's a work in progress for the rest of the units and the team to work with them. So I think that one we have to be patient, but I think what was nice, we saw both of their benefits they bring to the team. Freddie's really good at holding the ball up and trying to link play, and he causes issues and headaches for any centre-halves in this league. And I think Joe's got his pace and his power and probably could have scored in 1 or 2 chances. So I think both of them together are going to grow, only in stature and quality and end product. But also they could play up there as an individual as well. So it's really exciting to see how those two work together in the future.
And a good challenge against that experienced centre halves that Derby have got. We've talked about before, and the impact they had on the game at the end of last year against yourself, and it'll be a good test.
Yes, I think Derby are flying at the minute. They're top. I went to watch them Monday against Burton, and they won the game 3-2. Burton are in the game, but they're physical, they're fast. They've got some big players in the team. They're one of the top three, if you like, biggest clubs in this league, and they're on a good run. But we're at home. We have to take I want the lads to take the game to Derby, and we know the next two games are against tough opposition again in Derby and Peterborough. But why not? Why can't we take the game to Derby and do our best and see if we can get on the front foot with it?
Absolutely, and obviously there'll be a big crowd, a big atmosphere as well.
Yeah, the Eleanor Stadium, we know it's brilliant atmosphere. The fans are brilliant. I thought the fans at Wickham were fantastic. They stayed the whole game and saw that out. And I think it's a really important thing for the fans to get behind the players again at a home ground.
And what the fans will notice, I mean, they'll have heard about it already, but they'll notice there's three of you are now on the sidelines. You got a bit of extra help with a new assistant head coach. Yeah,
Chris has come in, which is brilliant for the club. I know he was known to the club. He wasn't known to myself, but I think when I came into post as the head coach, everyone was asking me who I'd bring, and I said, well, actually, let me get in the building and assess the building, look at the other staff, look at any technical staff we need to bring in as well. And we spent a bit of time. I met a couple of coaches and met Chris as part of that process. And I just think his experience of being an assistant, his experience of Championship, Premier League, his experience as a player. I don't have that experience, and I think it's really added to the group. So now I think we're on a good spot in terms of all the staffing. Tom's brilliant, Chris is brilliant, Scott is brilliant, Logan. I think the staff's in a really good place to help the lads. And my job is to build a team around the players that can really move the club on and really move the players on. I think with Chris coming in is the missing link to what we need, really.
Whilst decisions are ultimately yours, you're the head coach. I guess what you want people to challenge an opinion that you might have, because otherwise you just all sit there and agree with each other. It doesn't necessarily move things forward.
Yeah, I think you always want that, don't you? I think you always want to be challenged. The decision lies with me and the responsibility lies with me, but you want, if you get good people around you, like we have now at Lincoln, and myself in the coaching team, Tom and Chris are very open to ideas, but also very good at what they do and know what they know, if you like. And I think that it's a really good balance in terms of moving us forward and making us better. And ultimately, that's what it's about. It's about making us better as a group, as a staff, about making the players better. And I think what you get with Tom and Chris, the amount of care and attention and devotion, if you like, to their industry, but also to the players. And it's, for me, any assistant, any support staff, first and foremost, needs to be there for the players. And I think those two are brilliant for that.
And finally, on the injury front, we were talking to Rico, and he's, as you know, still easing himself back. He played the 20 last week. Is there any updates on any other injury situation for you?
Similar situation, which is nice because we haven't got any worse. So we've got a few niggles, but Rico, came on for 25, 28 minutes, whatever it was, which was good. He could probably do a little bit more, so we'll have a look at that. Ben House is still out at the moment, but hopefully he'll come back into training with us over the next couple of weeks. So again, that's progressing at the markers. But apart from that, we are, and Tyler, as you know, is a longer term.